everything was in the dark. No memories at all. Just a tiny freezing wind in my back. And I was sitting there, singing a song I had never heard before. Suddenly, a voice told me, "Keep on singing, little boy, and raise your arms to the big black sky. Raise your arms the highest you can, so the whole universe will glow."
What's going on, guys, and welcome to February's episode of Game of the Month, the show where we pick a game at random every month, and at the end of the month, we talk about it. My name's Seth, and joining me today is Sarah to my left and on your right, and up in the box, we have Chevy, of course, and yeah, hopefully you guys are doing good, and hopefully you guys are ready to talk about Elite Dangerous, which was our Game of the Month for February. I want to apologize for the, day delay that we have put on this episode. Baby hurt his back. Apparently, Baby 2 also hurt her back. That's just an adding to the whole thing. And I wasn't really feeling up to the task of filming, but we're feeling a little better, kind of. And here we are. We're going to talk about it. So we played Elite Dangerous. We'll talk about that in a sec, but we have to pick a brand new game of the month for March. That's the month we're in right now. And so let's just knock that out first for anybody who's new. And we got 20 or 30 new subscribers from the last Plus Club. So welcome to the channel, everybody who joined. Hopefully you enjoy what we do here. I'm going to explain real quick what we do. We have a back burner list of games. I think we have 20 on the list right now. We add and take away as they become relevant and not relevant. They're just there, and we hit this random.org generator, and we get a random number, and whatever that number coincides with on Chevy's list that I can't see in front of me, that will be our game of the month for March. I keep forgetting it's March, and we're going to talk about it at the end of the month. All right, Chevy, get the list ready.
This is my favorite part.
I do.
This is my favorite part. The rest of the episode, you guys can just leave. We're just going to talk about how Rob fucked me in space. But all right. So I'm going to hit this a couple times just to make sure it's extra random. Let me make sure everything's lined up good. Okay. So I'm going to start hitting it right now in 3, 2, 1, and I'm hitting generate. It takes a little bit on this one because it's true randomness, apparently. And I'm going to stop in 3, 2, 1, and 20.
Dang.
Humankind.
All right. Great long form game to be playing in March with all the games that keep stacking up. We're going to be playing Humankind in March. So that's cool. What do you guys think?
I love Humankind.
I don't know.
I'm excited.
I don't even know what that is.
It is a Civ style strategy game.
Okay.
Is that on Game Pass?
It was.
Yeah. Hopefully it still is. That'd probably be a better option, but I bought it already, but I have not played it. So I'm excited to finally dive into it, check it out. We can do some multiplayer, I assume. Pretty sure it has multiplayer.
I don't remember.
We'll find out. We'll find out.
I'm excited to talk about it.
This is going to put me back on trying out Total War Warhammer 3, though, because I was eyeing that.
Yes.
And now I'm not, if I'm going to be playing this month. So, any interest in playing a Civ-style game, Chevy?
I like Civ.
Yeah, this one's, I've heard a lot of good things about this one. It's similar to Civ, but a lot of things are different. So, it'll be interesting to talk about at the end of March. So,
sorry. I'm just going to say it's still fairly new. So,
yeah, that's
cool.
It's always nice when we pull a game that's still fairly new. It came out not that long ago. So, I'm excited to check it out. And we are going to play that throughout March, or at least for a day in March with all the games coming out. So, quick and easy. All right. So, in March, we played Elite Dangerous. If you don't know what Elite Dangerous is, it is a space sim where you fly around in the vacuum of space in a ship, whichever ship you own at the time, probably a Sidewinder at first, but eventually you will upgrade. In it, you go around and do random tasks, whatever you want to do, really. It's a sim. You can do deliveries between stations. You can do kind of like bounties. You can do other things. I forgot. Trading, mining, stuff like that.
I think there's PvP.
There's PvP. It is online, or you can play on a private server, which is what we did. And yeah, it takes itself in a more realistic way with being able to run out of fuel, being stranded in the middle of space, something I experienced, and yeah, it's pretty hardcore of a space sim, and yeah, a lot of really cool space visuals, which we'll talk about, I'm sure, in a sec. We all played it, and let's start with Chevy on your impressions of Elite Dangerous in February.
Okay, so I've owned this game for a while, and I've tried playing it a couple times, and the thing I've come to realize every time I play this game, and then I forget because it's been so long since I played it, is it is not a game you really casually play.
Yeah, it was the worst thing about when we hopped into it originally. Is I was like, uh-oh, I forgot how to play this game, and it's gonna take me hours to fucking get used to it again.
So I was playing with a controller with keyboard to back up the large amount of controls the game has because of the nature of it being a sim, and for the most part, I think it controls pretty good. My biggest problem is, and this is more of a personal problem, not the game's problem, is I can't remember all those keys, and so I just completely forget how to do stuff within moments of learning how to do it because there's just too many buttons essentially. Which for someone, I suppose, if you were looking for that kind of thing, yeah, it might be attractive. For me, especially as as I'm getting older, and also just having so many games to play,
Your memory's going.
it's kind of and it's kind of a hassle, to be honest.
Yeah.
I completely appreciate it, but it starts. I already play a couple MMOs, and those are time consuming. And then this game itself is also very easily, I could see you could probably live in it, which is not a bad thing if that's what you're looking for sure. I think the game has a good look, which is, I mean, kind of easy to do with a space game just because you can fill so much of that, space in with, pretty simple things. But then they do a pretty good job of like detailing like the ships themselves, the stations, like the way you enter them and stuff like that. So the assets that you do spend some time with and stuff like that are well done. I do appreciate that. Yeah, I think the one thing I would probably like to see, and only because I think about it in the regards of like playing Eve online in the past, and then just playing a bunch of other space games. I do wish traveling was a little less complicated because we live in an age now where cars can drive themselves. I have a hard time believing a spaceship, you couldn't just lock in a coordinate and hit a button. So
Well, you kind of can.
Except for you have to keep it lined up and make sure
Yeah.
you're constantly pointing in the right direction. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like you get this high tech thing, but you still have to like manually point at places. It's weird. So
Yeah, in a couple ways, it's automated. Like if you go to a station, it prompts you to slow down and it'll auto park essentially, and it does all that on its own. And when I set routes, I was able to click something and it would actually move my ship in the right direction and stuff. But then other times I would have to aim as well. So it is kind of weird. But also there might be ways to do it all automatically that we don't know about because this game
Sure.
is fairly complicated. As I was definitely learning to appreciate this month when we played it.
For sure. Well, to to go off of basically that, friend of ours has played this game a lot, and when he was explaining how to travel between systems, it was there was no auto, so it was just point this way, and hit the the right acceleration speeds and stuff like that. But I still had to like, and these are kind of nitpicky, but I I mostly my I guess my commentary is like I should be able to like just pick a location and an autopilot should be able to just take me. It makes sense like in the case of like fine like if I'm manually driving at a slow speed or in dogfight or mining and all that stuff. But just for like generic, like especially traveling system to system, I don't think I really should have to be that involved. It seems weird to me. So,
Sure.
especially because a lot of space games have that as well. So it's a weird design choice. Is all I'm saying. Um, yeah, outside of that, I didn't do any combat. Mostly because I was too busy trying to figure out how to get around and like do some simple like courier missions or like delivery and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean overall it's a pretty. I had a pretty alright time. I got a little frustrated in the last PlayStation we did just because my memory, and so like I got kind of frustrated with like not being able to like do fine driving around. Like I was trying to get around a planet to get to a space station, and I just got to the point where I was just like, I don't have the patience right now. So
Yeah.
not the game's fault, my fault.
Yeah, the sim nature of the game and the learning curve, and then I'm gonna say the same thing I said on Plus Club. A bunch of really great games just came out this month, and more coming out next month, and so we didn't dedicate as much time as I would have liked. Like we really pulled Elite Dangerous on the worst month ever because this is a game that I feel like we really should have spent more time with because it needs that for you to get more invested in it. As somebody who has played the game in the past, I struggled for about an hour getting back into how to play the game correctly. I had to redo tutorials, which luckily the game does just allow you to, just hop into a tutorial you've done in the past from your character. So that's nice. But there is a steep learning curve in this game because it's not just, Everspace 2. It's not like an arcade space game. It's really trying to take itself serious as a sim. And so even in the 6 hours that I did play it this month, it's nowhere near enough. I don't even feel like I scratched my review of this for you guys, but also for anybody watching is literally my review of like reacquainting myself with this game. It's not a review of like the game itself because I didn't have enough time to deep dive into it. But yeah, it's kind of on your point. Yeah, there's a lot to it, and while you're still sitting there trying to figure stuff out and learn how to get around and do what you got to do, even if you're not in the right mindset, it's not the best game to just jump into unless you're familiar with it. I was finding myself getting frustrated at first until I got everything figured out again, and then I was like, oh okay, and then I was able to start having fun with it. So I get where you're coming from.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really have a lot to add.
What'd you think of the character creator?
I mean, it's pretty decent.
Yeah.
A lot of it, I needed a currency I didn't have, but I mean, it's standard fare. I don't really expect that in a space sim. So
Yeah. And then we didn't try, what is it, Odyssey? Which is the first person component. So if anybody's curious about that, I don't think any of us played that. We just played the core game, which I think as of right now is Horizons. I'm not sure.
all the names.
Yeah. So
the launcher has like 4 or 5 different options right there even. So
Yeah, I kind of hate it as it's on launcher, but oh well. Oh well.
So it was awkward.
Yeah. Anything else? No? Sarah, impressions.
I've played this game a few times before also. I always really like it. I have a lot of fun with it. It's hard not to like compare it, for me at least, with like EVE Online. I've always kind of had like a love for EVE Online, but I've never like really been able to commit the amount of time to EVE Online that you really need to. So I kind of appreciate that about this game, because it's far more accessible. Like, I feel like, as complicated as it is, I feel like I can play it for like a few weeks, and get some appreciation out of it. I did do all the tutorials again this time, which was nice. I got into the game and immediately was like, oh my God, what am I doing? I didn't know how to access the HUD in any way, or anything like that. So being able to do the tutorial again was really nice. Made it a lot easier. But yeah, once I got it figured out again, I really love just like going around and traveling in this game. Like, for whatever reason, decided that I was going to travel to where Chevy was. Well, we were all kind of doing that before some series of unfortunate events. And just once I kind of got the hang of it, I got really just kind of into traveling around. And it was a lot of fun. In the past, I've done a lot of like the courier missions. So I guess my favorite part of the game is just flying around in the spaceship. Those kind of is what hooks me. I kind of alternatively to what Chevy mentioned, I actually really like that it's not automated. I find that it's much more engaging, and it's probably because it's something that I like the way that it works in the game. So I think if they took that away, that would make me like it less. Though I could see the argument for like adding it as an option.
I would say I don't think he's necessarily saying they should take it away, but saying like there should be an automated option.
Well,
kinda
sure.
Like a Tesla.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, if that wasn't in the game, then I wouldn't enjoy it as much.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I find not the combat. I didn't do any combat. I'm not even sure how you would do combat in the game. Like, I didn't really run into any situations where that was an option. So I always think, like, when I play this game, that I would like to invest more time into it. But I also don't really want to invest so much time into a game that's so complicated at the same time. So I think I have a weird relationship with the game, because I like how complex it is, but also like it kind of turns me off from playing it for too long. When we first started playing, I really just wasn't looking forward to it. I was like, I don't want to invest the time into just learning how to like do things again. But yeah, like I said, once I got the hang of it, I enjoyed it quite a bit. I find the controls to be really awkward. I used a mouse and keyboard.
Yeah, I hate it on there.
And just like cycling through like the number keys to get to different parts of your ship in like a way that doesn't really make that much sense, and then hitting spacebar to select things is just the worst. Yeah, I kind of wish I was looking forward to trying out like like getting off the ship and like actually playing your character this time, but we didn't get to do that. But I'm interested in what that's like and kind of what element it brings to the game. Yeah, I didn't do the character creator this time. I just kind of hopped into a character I already had, traveled around fueled up my ship.
I know fucking a little bit about that.
No, it was kind of and that's the thing with traveling around, like, it's kind of interesting. I had to go off course a few times to go to planets where I could fuel up. There seems to be some way where you can like scoop fuel off of like a sun or star or some
That's what Rob was talking about.
whatever. But that isn't something that I'm able to do. So having to go off course and plan it enough in advance so you don't run out of fuel, it's like I found to be really interesting personally. So yeah, I kind of just, even talking about it now, like I want to go back in and just fly around.
Yeah. Anything else?
I don't think so.
All right. So, yeah, I didn't put as much time into this game this month as I would have liked to. Put about 6 hours into it, in which 3 of those hours were devoted to an ill-advised plan to meet up in a place called Chamunda. You guys saw it in the intro. Rob fucked me over in the sense that I was hopping back into the game trying to relearn it. At the time, we had created this plan that I was going to jump there, and I wasn't quite prepared for that kind of journey, and eventually ran out of fuel and kind of sat there for a long time without fuel while Rob was telling me he's going to come bring me fuel. He never found me, so I sat there with the sun, dying with it, and eventually suffocated to death, which was really fucking disturbing to listen to for like 5 minutes straight. Outside those 3 hours of me just traveling and running out of fuel, I did missions, flew around, and had fun. The first 3 hours wasn't that great, but the last 3 hours were a lot of fun. The game is a really clean, good-looking game. I think ship design is good. I think I'm a dork. I love space, so like the idea of flying through space and seeing all these planets and going in warp drive and jumping from one system to another is a lot of fun for me. I think the immersion factor of the game is really good as well. When you go to stations, you have to contact the station, ask for access. You can be denied. You can be granted access. You go into these stations, are able to get missions, buy parts, refuel, repair your ship. And then once you leave the station, it's kind of the Wild West, which I kind of dig. I like the idea of just kind of going into space, and it feels like you're in space. It's just like this big fucking vacuum, empty vacuum. It's really eerie just being in your ship floating around in space. But yeah, I spent my time mostly after I got reacquainted with the game and wasn't dying and being left alone by Rob. Mostly doing career missions. I was kind of hopping between places, getting familiar with the game again, getting down the whole hopping here and there and refueling. It's like every 3 or 4 jumps I had to refuel. Like I said before, I was using the Sidewinder, so that the ship's not that great, but it worked for me. It's also nice too because when it blew up, I didn't lose anything, which was didn't add more insult to the whole situation, which was nice. Did a little bit of combat. It's from what I did, pretty good. It feels a little more like it's trying to be realistic and less like, Star Wars with a bunch of crazy noise and sound effects and shit. It's mostly like, aim a little bit ahead and kind of like a lock on target and just shoot them until they blow up. But it's serviceable as of where I've played. And kind of like in most hardcore games for me, I try to avoid situations like that where there's real cost to losing. And so, yeah, anything that seems like a hostile situation, I typically try to avoid. Yeah, combat's decent. Let's see. The career missions are cool because, like, you're just kind of traveling around, and if you're chilling, it's kind of nice because, like, you can just kind of, like, listen to a podcast, listen to music, which was what I was doing, and kind of explore the systems, get used to routes, get used to, moving in between places, navigating, which is another thing I like about this game. I like looking at the map and navigating routes, having it predetermined routes for me, but maybe deciding to make alterations to that. There is something zen-like, something methodical about kind of pre-planning your trip in a game. I appreciate the sim-like hardcore nature of that. where there is a cost of like running out of fuel and it becomes an emergency. There is a tension to that I really enjoy. Flying is good. I like that there's a lot of the ability to go up and down and strafe left and right. It's more realistic. Most games you fly in space like you're in a jet. In this, it's abiding by the laws of physics when it comes to space, and you're able to just kind of move in any direction. I really like that. It makes it feel a lot more, like I said, it always feels like in space games, like there's a up and down plane of existence. And in this, it's like every direction is a direction you can move. There's no up or down, which is the way space should feel. And the controls are good on a controller. I tried playing this on mouse and keyboard before. I don't like the way it feels, although Rob was telling me, and Rob fucked me over. So let's just throw that out there first off. He was telling me that a lot of like the PvP type people like to play with mouse and keyboard, which kind of makes sense to me because I feel like aiming would be better with a mouse. But I would assume people with a joystick would be like the hardcore guys, but those are probably more like the sim type players, and people who are like a little more like skill based probably use mouse and keyboard. But I think it felt better on controller. I feel like having all the buttons localized into one area feels less encumbered. It feels like it all kind of makes more sense. And this game did come out on console, so it does kind of make sense that they put a lot of time and effort into the controller, which I think they've done a good job. Again, you have to re-familiarize yourself with it, or if you're brand new, familiarize yourself with it. But once you do, I think it's actually a really good system. It's a lot of like hold down X, hold down square, hold down triangle, and then it opens up 4 menus, and then you decide from there, and you're able to look over at your different like computers in your ship and like, you know, put down your landing gear, pull out your guns, pull out your mining equipment. I think it works really well. And yeah, no complaints there. Mouse and keyboard though, I was, like I said, not a big fan of that, but on controller it's good. I did use, Chevy has like a flight stick. I have played this game with a flight stick before and I didn't really like it, but maybe it's because I'm not used to that. So I would be open to trying that again, but yeah, controllers seem to be the best. Like I already said before, though, the game looks good graphically. I think it has a really clean, good-looking style to it, but also the colors pop really well, the vibrancy of the planets, all that stuff. The travel is, I mean, if you're not into space, it's probably going to look really boring, but I kind of just dug cruising around. As boring as that could possibly sound, it's a sim. So if you like the idea of actually traveling through space, you're probably going to dig this. Light recommendation. And I really like the immersion factor of going to stations and kind of preparing for trips and stuff like that. Meeting up with people and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, other than that, though, I didn't really try any of the new stuff. I didn't try any of the first-person stuff. I'd be curious to try that. I didn't do any of the vehicle stuff on planets. Mostly just flew around and enjoyed myself quite a bit. The biggest problem I had with this game is I wish I put more time into it so I could be more invested and hop in and just know exactly what I'm doing, where I'm going. I got to that point in my play session, but with limited time, I didn't get to fully invest in that. I feel like if I played this game to a more full extent, I would probably love it because what I've played so far, I've really enjoyed. But it is a game that you have to invest a lot of yourself into to get more from it. This is something that I assume there are people out there who are like fucking lifers, love this game, and live in it. I know there is like a group of people called Fuel Rats or something like that. I went to their website when I was stranded, and I almost hit them up, but I was like, I'll just wait for Rob, which is a big mistake. But on their website, there's literally a website. It's like Fuel Rats. They're like, what's your name? Where are you? Are you in desperate need? Are you almost out of energy and fuel? Are you suffocating? All this stuff, and you check off all these things, and then there's a button that's like, get me fuel. And like they're like, we don't take any money, we don't take any tips, don't give us anything, we'll just come get you. I almost did that. I think it's kind of neat that people do that, but at the same time, holy shit, there's people who are like doing this 24/7. They're not making like money. off of it. So it's like you got to be really into the idea of the simulation of space to dedicate yourself to that, which I think is kind of neat. I love that kind of thing. Just like you mentioned Eve earlier, Eve has all this mythology built up from community driven things, and I think that's so fucking cool. And this game also offers stuff like that. So yeah, it's a game I could definitely see myself investing more time into. Right now is the worst time ever because I'm fucking in love with Elden Ring. It's all I want to play. But it was a really fun game. I really enjoyed myself. The first 3 hours were fucking frustrating, but I'm a fan of hardcore games, so I am okay with the hurdles and frustrations of familiarizing yourself with a game and getting better at it. And so I was willing to go through that to be able to realize the potential that this game obviously has. So I enjoyed my time. I'd like to return to it. I'm not going to install it. This is a game that I could see myself definitely like coming home from work and like doing some like courier missions, do some mining, just kind of work towards long-term goals. And yeah, it's fun. I liked it. Although it's funny because like every time I look at it, I'm like, Star Citizen's the fucking space sim. This is like a midway point. And then I played this and I'm like, no, this is a straight up sim, dude. Like this shit's fucking like, you make a mistake, you're dead and you're gonna lose shit. So I miscalculated my judgment on that when I played it, but I like it even more for that. So yeah, good.
Yeah, when I made it to Chamunda after you had your tragic event, it just like made it so much more satisfying to have made it. But at the same time, like I feel like part of the reason I made it is having been able to experience your tragedy. Like I just got like hyper aware of like how much fuel I had, and I was like, okay, I have to go. If it's 3 jumps away, like I have to go now, you know? So
well, I stopped going to Chamunda because the plan had evolved to I was going to another location.
right.
And so I turned there and then shit got fucked.
Yeah, no, but
Bad
like
plan.
ultimately the plan was to meet up with them.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what we were doing. And then I realized that fell apart like halfway to the destination. I was like, I'm just gonna keep doing this. Like, I just want to see if I can make it. But I definitely agree. I feel like this is a game I could like spend all my time playing. Like this would be my life. It's kind of intimidating. I kind of got into this groove of like, this is the one thing I figured out how to do, so I'm just going to keep doing it. It's kind of intimidating to stray off of that, to try something new. But yeah, I have a lot of fun with this game. I love how complex it is. The fuel rat thing is just like super cool, I think. That's the kind of thing that makes me want to play, makes me want to invest my life into this game.
Yeah, it makes me wonder what kind of other groups there are in the game, because I guarantee there's like clans and guilds and shit, and people who do certain things, and people who devote their time to being pirates and all sorts of shit.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We should be fuel rats.
I'm not gonna be a fuel rat. I'm not doing that. I'm not
doing that.
I got the time for that.
I wonder, like, I can't even imagine, like, the logistics of that. Like, do they just get, like, they're like little pagers, and they just go off, and they're like, all right, time to go.
Probably. I assume it's a similar mentality to people who hit, like, fucking endgame and did everything in an MMO, and they're waiting for everybody to catch up. So, like, they're like, I can help you if you want, because I'm bored. I'm sitting around doing nothing. I think they do the same thing. I think these guys, like, went hard, played the game, got everything. Now they got the resources. Like, what do we do? Well, let's dedicate time and help other players, which I think is awesome.
It's super cool. Like, the fact that something like that exists in the game is just makes me like it even more.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys have anything else to say on it?
Nope. Just that I would love to. I would love to invest more time into it, but also realistically, I want to play Elden Ring.
True. All right, let's jump into recommendations. Do you guys have any you want to throw out there?
Just the normal ones: space sim, sim in general,
Where are you?
exploration. Camera's frozen.
Oh, okay. I was like, you've been sitting still for a long time.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt anyone speaking, so
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, that's pretty much the only ones I can even think of.
Yeah.
I would recommend it for people who are, like myself, very interested in a game like EVE Online, but I think that there is much less of a time investment in this game. Like, you can just like hop in and play it much more realistically than a game like EVE Online. So, yep.
I think you can easily hop in and do a couple things and leave. You don't. You can get as much out of this game as you want. I mean, I agree. I think this is a hard space sim game. It's not going to be for everyone. Even people who might be interested in a space game, but not necessarily a sim, might be not into this. But I would recommend you try it and see if you get into it, and definitely learn how to play it. That's going to be the hardest part of it. Once you get past that, it is pretty smooth sailing after that. I don't think it's super complicated. I just think that the learning curve in the beginning is a steep curve, and that's about it. After that, it is pretty basic in the sense that you are just doing some pretty straightforward missions in a space sim environment. I would lightly recommend it if you are willing to learn, the way this game plays. That if you're into MMOs, you might like this because it does have kind of like a fetch quest type thing and level up, get like better gear kind of system going on in it. I don't want to hard recommend that though, because like if you're like, I love WoW, there's nothing here that's going to remind you of WoW. But if you do like that, like social system, being around people, progressing together, PvP, stuff like that, you might dig this. Just run around questing and doing stuff. If you're into, and again, with the caveat of being, you're playing a space sim, if you like PvP, if you like games where it's kind of like the Wild West, you could run into other people who are going to try and fuck you up. Maybe like Grand Theft Auto Online and Red Dead Online, games where you can do quests but also run into other people. This does have a similar system if you play on online servers, or maybe create friendships with random people you've never met in real life, but you meet in the game. It does have that kind of open nature to it. So if that sounds appealing, you want to live your space fantasy in this, I think you can. I think it allows for that, with plenty of things to work towards and ways to progress. But yeah, outside of that, it's hard for me to recommend for a lot of people, and it's definitely not a game for everybody, because it is at its core a simulation of operating and doing things in space.
Living your space fantasy.
Living your space fantasy. So if that sounds interesting, definitely check it out. And you probably Eve like a couple times. I would say if you played Eve, you probably already played this. But if you didn't, maybe check it out. They're not quite the same, but they are similar in the sense that you could live in both games. So I would definitely recommend it to you. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Chevy? Is Chevy there?
No, I'm here.
Sarah, grade it.
Oof. I would give the parts of the game I've played, at least. I'm hesitant to grade it because I feel like I haven't tried everything.
Yeah, you're grading your experience with it this month.
Right.
Yeah.
But I would say that I give it a B.
A B. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Chevy.
Okay. I'm going to give it a C plus. I think it is a little higher than just a baseline experience. I do think there are some hang-ups with it, and then, but I've also only played a shallow bit of it, so I don't have any deep affinity for it at this point. If I played it more, I might, but I mean, realistically, I'd probably end up just playing something like No Man's Sky instead, for time investment reasons. So
Yeah. Yeah. So C plus B. My experience with the game, outside of the first 3 hours not being that great, I still appreciate a lot about it, and I see the potential and the things that I've done in the game I really enjoyed. I think the game's really well made. Looks good graphically and has a lot to do in it. For all that, I don't really see any problems with it. I am gonna give it a light A minus. I really enjoyed it a lot. I could definitely see myself playing this more. Out of most of the space games I've played, this is probably one of the best ones I've played. So I really dug it, and definitely want to, if I have the time, I'd like to hop back into it because I really enjoyed my time with it. The frustrations were there, but you got to get through those to learn the game, and after that, it's pretty smooth sailing. I'd like to have more adventures in it and have more stories to tell playing it. But yeah, I could see this possibly moving up to an A if I played it enough and really got into it. But this game really talks to me because I like online games with a lot of variables, and I like hardcore games. I like games where there's things to lose. That's really my bread and butter. And so even though I did die and I didn't lose anything because I was still using the beginner ship, I got a taste of how serious that situation could have been if I had invested time in the game. And as Rob said, and I'm sure he heard this from somewhere, if you can't afford to lose it, don't fly it. And that was an interesting thing to hear because, yeah, if I would have lost my ship, that would have really fucking sucked. So, but yeah, light A minus, almost a B plus, but I'm giving a little more because I think this game is, you can tell when you play this game that the people who made it are like really fucking into it. There's a lot of small details all over it, from when you talk to people through voice chat. It sounds like you're coming over on a radio. When you type into the chat, it actually shows your face in your chat log of your character that you made. All sorts of really small details that I think are really fucking cool. All the menus are really neat. You feel like you're sitting in a ship going through menus and like checking your navigation, fuel, and reallocating your energy in your ship to different parts of your systems. There's a lot of really cool stuff in it. So I definitely think it is a leader in the pack of sim space games. So yeah, light A minus. A lot higher than I thought I was going to go, but it's cool. I like it. Anything else you guys want to say on this before we get the fuck out of here? No?
Nope.
All right. Well, let us know in the comments. What did you guys think of Elite Dangerous? Have you played it? Have you not played it? If you haven't played it, why haven't you played it? Are you into space sims? Are you not into space sims? If you played Elite Dangerous, did you like it? Did you not like it? Was the learning curve rough for you, or you pro and you're just like, dude, as soon as I started, I just knew how to do everything. What's your favorite part about the game, and what do I have to look forward to if I continue to play it? And yeah, I think that's going to do it, though, for this episode of Game of the Month. As always, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy this episode. Make sure to check out our other episodes. Check us out on our socials and streams. Links down below. We still got to get you on that list. And yeah, we got a Discord link down below. You can talk to us anytime, all the time. We're on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast platforms if you prefer to listen to us. And we have a Patreon. If you'd like to support this channel more than liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing if you're brand new. Again, welcome everybody who subscribed recently from Reddit. Hopefully you enjoy what we do here, and feel free to comment down below. We love to get the comments. And yeah, thank you for joining me, Sarah and Chevy. And I've been Seth. Until the next episode, which should be hopefully TastyCast. Have a good one, guys, and take it easy.